Okay, so I'm going on a trip this coming week, and I know this video, I'm going to probably be in the middle of the trip. If you go to my Instagram, you're going to see some photos of just junk at first. Probably not. You probably won't even see anything because I won't have time to do any kind of editing. I did meet up with a model that is letting me take pictures with her. We've been trying to plan this for like a year and a half, I think. But going to Canada, I think that's where I'm going, or going to Buffalo up there, close to Canada, Niagara Falls. I think that's where we're going. But it's just kind of weird because I don't know what to bring with me. I want to bring a wide lens and be able to take a lot of wide shots, but I really don't know what's in Canada. And I want to take the 50 mil or the 30 mil macro with the XT5 because it's light. And I guess this comes to the problem. I don't want to shoot with the XT5 because the megapixels are too big. So I want to treat it like what I used to do with a film camera, where I was very meticulous of taking pictures. And I'm going to give you a good example of pros and cons on this. So the first example of the XT5 megapixels is I was at a wedding. I have to download these photos, and I have a MacBook Air, so I don't even have a Pro. It does what it needs to do, but it's slow, right? It's bogging it down. The RAM isn't that. I think I got 32 gig RAM. And so the 8 gig doesn't work, or the 16, I can't remember. It doesn't really matter. But the 8, the minimum, is no good with the XT5. I've tried it on the computer. It just takes forever. It crashes all the time. It's junk. Not worth it. I think the Air is really good for school, for doing stuff. I don't really edit too much because I just download them and then I send them off to an editor and they do all their job and I'm done. But the 16 gigabyte, yeah. It's slow when I upgrade to the XT5. I knew it was going to happen. I need to get a Pro. Figured that, but I've just been trying to hope on the legs. I have one of my old MacBooks Pros with the Intel. Oh my God, that thing gets so hot with the XT5 files. I'd rather go on the desktop, and the desktop has 64 gigs of RAM, and it handles perfectly fine. It does everything it needs to do, but I don't like sitting on my desktop very often. I like being able to move around on the laptop. Anyway, that's not the point. So the problem is memory. And then the next problem is the computer being slow. So now you take that into account and you're like, do I really want to shoot all 100 pictures, 500 pictures, 1,000 pictures? And so I was at this wedding and I was very meticulous of what I was shooting with the XT5. If the shot wasn't there, I didn't take the picture. Like sometimes I just click with the XT4. But if the shot's not there, I don't even worry about it. So with the XT5, I'm very, very meticulous of taking a shot, and then it kind of leads to missing the shot too, because there were some things at a wedding that I did where they would do something cute, and I just didn't take it because they had stopped, but then they did something cute right after that, and I was like, oh my God, I should have just clicked away, but I don't want 500 photos of nothing, and then I have to download that to my computer, go through all those files, slow it down, and then send that to the editor with what I picked. It's not what I want to do. Anyway. So, but then goes to the next thing. The XT5 is so light. It's like the XT3, XT2. I can take a picture with the 30 mil macro and then crop in at 24 megapixels almost and get like a 50 mil, right? I can cut it in half basically. And so I think that's really cool that you can do that with the photos. I don't know. And I want to take the XT4, but I don't like the autofocus on the XT4. I love the autofocus on the XT5. The XT4 is more of my studio, the Sigma. Okay. So now I'm stuck, right? I'm going on this trip. Do I take the XT4? Do I take the XT5? Then what lenses do I do? Do I do the f4 16 to 80 because it covers all of it? Or do I do the 90 mil f2 because I want that bokeh type of thing? I'm going to definitely take the 30 mil 2.8, but if I'm taking the 30 mil 2.8, I might as well take the Sigma 18 to 50 2.8, right? And I still have the 1.5, but I really don't shoot with that, or 1.4, I don't shoot with that one. I don't use it that much. So I'm kind of stuck. Like, what do I do? What do I take with me? I want to take the long zoom lens, but I highly doubt it because I've been told nobody really does this. But let's say I go to Canada and somebody robs me, I lose the freaking telephoto lens right before a wedding because I'm coming back. I lose the XT5 right before the wedding. I lose the macro lens. I lose the Sigma lens. And the macro and Sigma lens I can kind of easily replace. I have the XT4. I have the Sony backup body. I'm not concerned about those things. I just go back to maybe I should take the XT4 because if somebody steals the XT4 and the Sigma, it's not that big of a loss for me. Right? I'm not that concerned. I can go get another used XT4 and didn't blink an eye. But I don't want to spend that money on a new XT5 and then I just go back to it again. Do I take the XT5 with the good? But then, right? It goes back to this. If you're buying a camera, you want to use that camera. So I bought the XT5 for good autofocus. Doesn't have better low light than the XT4. I can crop in a little bit better. I like the ergonomics of the XT5. I like the video specs of the XT5. But I can do all that with the XT4 pretty much. I just can't crop in. So then leaves me with, why do I need the 30 macro 2.8 if I can just take the Sigma 18 to 50 2.8, right? Why am I taking two lenses of the same thing? Am I really going to take macro shots with the macro lens? And then the Sigma almost gets macro. So I can do that with the XT4 and crop in a little bit. I don't know what I want to do. So this is my dilemma. Okay, XT4, okay, we're going to just break it. I'm taking the Sigma, 18 to 50, right? Then do I take the 16 to 80 so I can get that reach? Or do I take the 18 to 50 Sigma and then the 90 mil 2.0 so I can get a little bit of bokeh? And then you're going to be like, well, hey, Apollo photography, who cares about bokeh? Because you can just bring it into Luminar AI and bokeh it, right? Blah, blah, blah. Yes, you're right. That's true. Or I can take the XT5, 35 macro, and that's it. That's all I take with me. Maybe the 90 mil f2, but that's all I take, right? Nothing else. And so I don't know what to do. I was thinking about just taking the Sony with the 85 1.8, but I didn't want to carry that big old fat camera with this lens. I'd rather take the small XT5. So that's my dilemma. Put your comments in there, but it's not going to matter. I'm already on the trip by the time this video plays. So what you've been seeing in the background is just junk video of things that I've taken pictures of and video of all sorts of things, and you guess which one's the XT4, which one's the XT5, and which one's shot on an iPhone, I guess. I don't know. But okay, you have a good day, good night, and I'll see you on the other side.